Hey, get out of here, Romans. Get out of here. It's time to talk about Doctor Who. No, it looks so bare without the Romans up there. That's better. All right, let's just get all the cards on the table. I've started rewatching Doctor Who, and you can blame two people for this. One, you know, Alicia, Latin Alice, who made some videos during VEDS about Doctor Who, and they were really good, like Alicia's videos tend to be, and then she recommended a Doctor Who channel, which I watched, and then my algorithm just became Doctor Who related for a couple weeks, which I was a fan of. The second thing that really pushed me over the edge, though, was my friend Alex watched it for the first time, or is watching it for the first time, and talking about it with him as he watched it made me really want to go back and revisit those episodes that I grew up watching as a kid. You see, I fell off watching Doctor Who somewhere in like early second season Capaldi. I was busy because college and I just wasn't enjoying the show that much anymore. So I just haven't been around Doctor Who for a couple years. So it was really fun to go back, start at the beginning of the revival with Christopher Eccleston's season. And for those of you who don't know what Doctor Who is, here's a quick synopsis. The Doctor is an alien with two hearts who flies around in a time machine / spaceship called the TARDIS. And he picks up random human companions who join him on his adventures gallivanting across the universe, space, and time. He usually fights a monster of the week, whether that be in the distant past with historical figures or the far future with crazy aliens. It's been going on for over 50 years. The goofier it is, the better, and I love it.
I'm the Doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
On to season 1. And I had some strong thoughts about this season as a kid, mainly that Christopher Eccleston was great and he deserved more seasons, that the season wasn't actually that good until you got to the episode Dalek, then it was all almost perfect, the domestic stuff was really boring, Mickey sucked, and Captain Jack was dreamy. But now that I've watched it again, my opinions have slightly changed. I still love Eccleston, I still think he's great. I'm starting to think though that if he had gotten more seasons, I wouldn't like him as much as I do now. Just in general, having one great season might be better than having a bunch of seasons with a variety of quality. The show is great from the beginning. Dalek is a pretty good episode, but it certainly isn't the first good episode. The domestic stuff is some of the best. I love Mickey, he's a king, and Captain Jack is even more dreamy. So obviously my opinions on this season have evolved. And now I want to try to pinpoint some of the reasons I think this season works so well. First off, the Doctor is not the main character, Rose is. More so than any other companion except maybe Amy, Rose takes on the role of lead protagonist of the show. We are introduced with her in the first episode. The first episode's even named after her, and so much of the show relies on her point of view. This has the great benefit of slowly being able to introduce information about the Doctor, so we're never like just bogged down in info dumps, and also they can tie the information that they are introducing into the episodes themselves. This also means that we just get a lot more defining moments with Rose. One of the best things she does as a character is just talk to people. The way she talks to different people who the Doctor kind of just brushes past, or the people within whatever society she's visiting might view as like lower class or whatever, really shows a internal understanding of the world that I don't think any of the other companions have. It's kind of this like class consciousness that is just completely foreign to the rest of the show, but Rose has it in spades. And it means she's going to have just as much, if not more, growth than the Doctor. I don't actually think Eccleston's Doctor changes that much, or at least compared to his successors. However, Rose changes a ton from the first episode to the last, which is good because Rose is one of the companions who lasts longer on the show than the actor playing the Doctor. And whenever either of them change or grow in any way, it's always spurned on by the best parts of the other. The Doctor will change because of Rose's humanity and compassion, and Rose will change because the Doctor is able to open her up to new opportunities and experiences. And of course, one of the things that Rose brings to the show is Mickey and the domestic stuff. See, Rose is just a normal person. She lives in London, she has a retail job, she has a boyfriend named Mickey who, you know, kind of a wimp. but a delightful one. And because of that, we get a domestic setting that keeps popping up every couple episodes. And while these episodes might not be the best that the season has to offer, they provide emotional stakes for the entire season. And I don't know why I like these more than I did as a kid, other than the fact that maybe because I'm older, I can relate to them more, but I do. I like that Mickey is just a normal person whose girlfriend just all up and went off into space. He reacts very relatably to the situation. But while domesticity is a part of the show, it's not exactly a main theme. I'd say there are two main themes to this season. One is loss. First episode, Doctor wins, saves the day, wonderful. Sets up what the show is going to be. However, from episode 2 onward, almost every single episode has a significant loss in it. Whether that is a side character who we grew to love and the Doctor just couldn't end up saving, or whether that's the Doctor actually loses. He doesn't succeed. Sometimes the loss is not clearly evident till a couple episodes later. The episodes Bad Wolf and Boomtown exist solely because the Doctor did not do a good enough job in the episodes that preceded it in solving their perspective problems. It's such a theme of the show that in the episode The Doctor Dances, where the Doctor is able to literally save everyone and gives a big old speech about that, today everyone lives, it kind of bugged me as a kid because the show had prepared me and trained me to expect some pretty nasty consequences. Not this time though. This time I was like, I need some happiness, please.
Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. Everybody lives!
I love that episode. It's so good. And this carries through to the last episode, where loss is at the center of it, not just at the stakes, but also of the resolution. However, an even more pervading theme is the theme of companionship. In the first episode, Rose is being attacked by these aliens, and the Doctor, out of nowhere, comes in, grabs her hand, and says, "Run." And they run and escape together. That's the Doctor's introduction. That motif of the grabbing of someone's hand, of two characters holding hands, something that we're used to seeing as a romantic gesture, is used a lot in this show. And as Rose grows as a companion, she starts to do that to people they meet along the way whenever they are in danger, and Rose is now able to handle the situation better than whoever she's with. However, what that gesture does even more is just illustrate how much people coming together is an important part of the show. And the entire show, but I think especially this season, because like I said, loss is a big part of the show. Both of the main characters are dealing with personal loss. However, they're able to get through that because they have each other. And it's not just that the Doctor and Rose have each other, but it's also that Rose has her mom Jackie and has Mickey, and of course, everyone has got Captain Jack.
Captain Jack Harkness, by the way.
I'm Davidge Pavel.
Nice to meet you, Davidge Pavel.
There's a time and a place.
I've name dropped him enough. It's time to talk about Captain Jack. Captain Jack is a rogue time traveler who comes in the middle of the season and joins up with the TARDIS team. He's slick, he's fun, he flirts with anything that moves, and he's just good at what he does. And what he does is just help the Doctor out. Eventually, after the first episode, when he joins the team, he'll just go into a situation. The Doctor will be like, we need to do this, and just automatically, without asking, he'll go up and just start doing that. I love this kind of character. The best character of the Davis era of Doctor Who, hands down. And apparently, he comes back in some of 13's episodes, so he's probably the best character of that season too. I love Captain Jack. I love him so much. And I love this season. It's so good. It's so narratively tight, and I'd say probably the best standalone season of the revival. Such a good start to the revival. Such a good just jumping on point for the show. And you know what? Let's do some best and worsts. Monster of the week. It would be very easy to give the best to Dalek from Dalek. I mean, they are the Doctor's arch nemesis for a reason, and that's a great episode in introducing the conflict between the Doctor and the Daleks. However, I have to give it to the Empty Child.
Are you my mummy?
No mummy's here. Nobody here but us chickens. Well, this chicken.
I'm scared.
Why are those other children frightened of you?
Please let me in, Mummy. I'm scared of the bombs.
The Empty Child frightened me as a kid. Doesn't do that anymore today, but it still is a pretty creepy concept, and I think one of the more iconic designs and voices of a monster in the show. And the worst, I was gonna give this to the Slevene because I don't like any of their episodes, but then I thought about more, and I'm like, The Slovene, at least, are kind of fun. Like, they're a little goofy, and they're dumb, and they're stupid, but at least there's a little bit of potential there. You know what villain I just completely forgot about? Just completely left my mind? The Mighty Jaggerfrass from The Long Game. Just a completely forgettable villain who has nothing going on for him. Or it, I'm not sure which gender the weird space slime thing presents as. Best and worst characters, no surprise, this goes to Captain Jack. I love him so much. And as far as I can remember, this is his best season, having the longest stretch of him on episode to episode to episode. But I do love him throughout the show, so he might be my best character until he leaves the show. Worst character, Simon Pegg from The Long Game. Yeah, I'm just gonna go hard on this episode. They got Simon Pegg to be in Doctor Who, and I get it, he wasn't as big of a star as he is in now, but they completely wasted him. Once again, a forgettable character, and now they can't have Simon Pegg back on because they've already used him up. That's not true, they've reused actors in the past, and if they did get Simon Pegg back to play a more substantial character, I might not dislike this character so much, but it's bad enough that I don't even remember his name, so we'll throw him onto the pile. And then finally, best and worst of the episodes. If you want to hear me go through my thoughts episode by episode, that will be a separate video linked in the cards and in the description. But for a simple favorite, least favorite, the best is The Doctor Dances. This supplanted The Empty Child as my favorite episode of the show. That might change a little bit once we get into the Tenet episodes, but I doubt it. I love this episode so much. What it does is it subverts that expectation of loss, and ultimately it shows you what the Doctor is always striving to do. He is always striving to make it so just this once, everybody lives. He doesn't always get there. He's not a perfect person, but when he does, it's a time for celebration. And worst, I was gonna give it to World War III. World War III is pretty bad. Aliens in London, also pretty bad. Either of those could take it. However, they spread their bad out over a two-parter. What doesn't have the luxury of doing that is The Long Game. Yeah, that's right, The Long Game sweeps the worst categories. I get that it has plot relevance further on into the series, but it's just not a good episode. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to watch Tenet's episodes now. And you know what? His first episode is a Christmas episode. Very fortuitous. I'm gonna go start season 2. I'll see y'all in the new year.